Pues nada. ¿Dónde lo miro?
I don't think that...
Pues se ha hecho acá la puerta, ¿no? O a lo mejor se refiere a lo que está dentro. Ah, no, vale.
A fingerprint. I obtained a clear print and have filed it.
Y en el del otro no lo hago. Ay.
You presume that this...
Pues no. Vale, Reiche y Usman. Vamos para acá. La condesa esta. Dicho que se puede registrar la
Nothing to
mala
find
tiene.
here. HMK. No need to look under there again.
¿Y eso no lo puedo coger?
I've already searched.
No. ¿Y de esta señora dónde cojo las huellas? ¿O no hay para coger huellas?
Nothing to... I won't do...
Pues imagino que no.
I am
¿no?
sorry, mademoiselle.
I won't find any...
Supongo que no hay huellas. Porque si no me salía el signo ese. Estoy en el 13, ¿verdad?
Nothing of interest.
En este no
That isn't going to happen.
puede ser que
I am sorry, mademoiselle.
puede ser que en este no puedan coger huellas porque son los que estaban afuera. Puede ser, ¿no?
Nothing else.
Mira. ¡Uy!
The bracelet is worthless, mademoiselle. It is copper only. I bought it outside the train station in Istanbul.
¡Qué susto,
For my
señora!
arthritis. Take it if you like.
I'm very sorry, Your Highness. I realize how this must look, but I'm only doing the job assigned me. I promise I'll return it to you, if I can.
Ah, then I expect you would like to interrogate me. I believe that is...
Para mi desgracia tengo que interrogarle,
If
señora.
I may,
But of course, I am suspect just as anyone in the Calais coach
Mientras no
must.
suelte mucho de este
I
guaca
am
otro,
ready for the third degree.
como ahora.
I have borrowed your passport, Your Highness.
I noticed that as well.
Natalia Dragomirov, 17 Avenue Kleber, Paris. You are traveling home from Istanbul, madame?
Yes, I have been staying at the Austrian embassy. My maid is with me, as you saw in the marketplace.
Could you give me a brief account of your movements last evening?
Nothing could be simpler. After dinner, Schmidt, my maid, read to me. We were interrupted by the train stopping to avoid the avalanche. Then she read aloud to me some more, till quite late.
Can you give me an idea of the time?
If I were to guess, I would say it was 1:30.
Has your maid been with you long?
15 years.
Do you consider her trustworthy?
Absolutely. Her people come from an estate of my late husband's in Germany.
Forgive the personal nature of this question, madame, but what is the color of your dressing gown?
My dressing gown? It is of blue satin.
I regret to tell you that I must take your fingerprints.
Dear me. With typewriting ribbon? Have you something I may clean my hands with afterwards?
I have some paper napkins.
Thank you, mademoiselle. Those should suit admirably.
You have been in America, I presume, madame?
Many times.
Were you acquainted with a family by the name of
Definitivamente sì, se
Armstrong?
l'aveva contato per
You
quello.
speak of friends of mine, mademoiselle. Sonia Armstrong was my goddaughter. I was on terms of friendship with her mother, Linda Arden, one of the greatest tragic actresses in the world. As Lady Macbeth, as Nora in A Doll's House, there was no one to touch her. I was not only an admirer of her art, I was a personal friend.
Is Linda Arden dead?
No, she is alive. Tis a sort of life. She lives in complete retirement. Her health is very delicate. She must lie on a sofa most of the time.
Mrs. Armstrong had a sister, did she not?
Yes, much younger than Mrs. Armstrong.
And she is alive?
Certainly.
Where is she?
I must ask the reason of these questions. What have they to do with the murder on this train?
The dead man was responsible for the kidnapping and death of Mrs. Armstrong's child.
Ah. In my view, then, this murder is an entirely admirable occurrence. You will pardon my slightly biased point of view.
It is most natural, madame. Where is the younger daughter of Linda Arden, the sister of Mrs. Armstrong?
I've lost touch with the younger generation. I believe she married an Englishman some years ago, but at the moment I cannot recollect the name. Mademoiselle, you will forgive me, but the one you assist, he who guides the investigation, no one has told me his name.
He is Hercule Poirot, madame.
Poirot. Of course. I thought his face was somehow familiar to me. Poirot on this train.
¿Lo conoce?
It is destiny.
Ah, supongo que por el caso.
I've already searched.
Ay, Jesús.
Colonel Arbuthnot, I do not believe we've been properly introduced.
I expect the formalities must be winked at in a case like this, mademoiselle. The attendant told me you are acting on the Frog Detective's behalf.
I am the frog, monsieur. Hercule Poirot is Belgian.
Apologies, no offense meant. Your accent's a bit of mid-channel, difficult to pick up.
May I have your passport, please?
Of course.
Colonel Francis Gordon Arbuthnot, the Mews, Cheltenham, Royal Northumberland Fusiliers, currently stationed in India.
Yes, on leave.
But you're not traveling on the P&O boat? Why not?
I stopped in Baghdad with the AOC, who happens to be a good friend of mine.
Where did you meet Mademoiselle Debenham?
Miss Debenham? What, in Baghdad, you must know.
And your opinion of her?
You can take it from me, she's all right. A Puka Sahib.
Can you give me an account of your movements last night?
Yes, I think I can. After dinner, I had a drink in the salon car with young McQueen, the dead man's secretary. Surprisingly knowledgeable about world affairs for an American, even if he had got hold of some tomfool ideas about India. We adjourned to his compartment, let me see, at around 2100. That's 9 p.m. You saw us in the Belgrade station courtyard. We stepped out for a bit of fresh air, but with the weather turning foul, that wasn't on.
I will take your fingerprints now.
Will you, by Jove? Well, get on with it then.
What do you and Monsieur McQueen smoke?
McQueen doesn't, now that I think of it. A pipe's my weapon of choice.
What happened after Belgrade?
Around 2200, that's 10 p.m. Ratchet's valet came to fetch him for his employer. He went off for a while.
And what did you do after Monsieur McQueen left you?
Well, I went back to the salon car for a nightcap, didn't I? I was heading to my compartment when I ran into McQueen. went off back to his room again to continue the matter. I put him straight on India, learned a bit about the American stock market. Bloody fool's game, if you ask me. Oh, pardon that is to say, my language.
Do not concern yourself.
There, you see, now I can hear the accent. It comes and goes.
What time did your discussion of world affairs end?
The conversation was so engrossing, by the time I looked at my watch, it was 1:45. McQueen called the attendant to make up his bed. I came back here.
Did anyone pass Monsieur McQueen's room while you were talking?
A good many people, I should think. I wasn't paying attention. The attendant did at one point, and I think I caught a glimpse of you wandering about.
Let us say during the last hour of your conversation.
Really, I can't.
Colonel, you have the soldier's observation for detail.
Hang on. There was a woman, I think.
Was this woman young or old?
Didn't see her, wasn't looking that way. Just a rustle in a scent.
Mademoiselle Debenham?
No, I'd recognize. That is to say, it wasn't. No, it was very strong. Fruit or something.
Can you pinpoint the time the woman passed? What were you discussing?
Let's see, I was detailing the other washout. Stalin's 5-year plan was turning out. It must have been within the last half hour. More definite than that, I can't say.
Have you ever been in America?
Never. Don't want to go.
Did you ever know a Colonel Armstrong?
Armstrong. I've known 2 or 3 Armstrongs. Selby Armstrong. He was killed on the Somme.
I mean the Colonel Armstrong who married an American woman and whose only child was kidnapped and murdered.
Ah, yes. I remember reading about that. Shocking affair. Never actually came across the fellow, but his name came up in the officer's mess, of course. Toby Armstrong. Nice fellow. Everybody liked him. Distinguished career, got the VC, Victoria Cross.
The man who was killed last night was the man responsible for the murder of Colonel Armstrong's child.
Then in my opinion, the swine got what he deserved, though I would have preferred to see him properly hanged, or electrocuted, or whatever it is they do over there. Trial by 12 good men and true. Sound system.
Anything you can recall from last night that strikes you as suspicious?
There was one odd thing.
Yes?
As I got back to my compartment, I noticed that the door of the one beyond mine, number 16, well, it wasn't quite closed. The chap inside peered out in a rather furtive sort of way, then quickly pulled the door. Probably nothing in it, but you know what it is. Early hours of the morning, everything very still. The thing had a sinister look, like a detective story.
Thank you, Colonel Arbuthnot.
Not at all. Now, if you don't mind, I think I'll pop along to the salon car.
Don't let me keep you.
You mean to say you intend to stay in my compartment?
Yes.
And search through my belongings?
Ya lo he hecho.
I'm sorry, but I really must.
But that's... I mean, it just isn't. That's bloody irregular. Pardon my French.
Que ya lo he hecho, ¿no? Ya he mirado. ¿O no he mirado?
I won't find anything.
Sí, he mirado.
I've already...
Ya he registrado.
Nothing to...
Vale. Estaba pensando yo en cuál estaba dado. Y el 16.
I've already searched it thoroughly.
Ni nada más,
Nothing
entonces.
else to see in there.
Ajá.
I see nothing.
Y aquí no hay nada.
I won't-
Esto ya no hay nada. Este me lo he mirado. Lo he cogido todo. No me sale ningún símbolo ni nada. Todo solamente el pasaporte. Pues ahora si aquí no hay nada. Sí, aquí está. A ver si puedo darme
I
la huella.
found this button from your tunic in the American lady's compartment.
I have lost no button, mademoiselle. There must be some mistake.
Then perhaps it was dropped by the man she said was in her room.
There was no one there. The lady must have imagined it.
I need to ask you some questions about Monsieur Ratchet's death.
But of course, Mademoiselle Marceau, I will do anything I can to help.
When was the body discovered?
The valet of Monsieur Rachette, he tapped several times at the door this morning. There was no answer. Then, half an hour ago, Lucien, the waiter, came. He wanted to know if Monsieur was taking déjeuner. It was 11 o'clock, you comprehend.
Continue.
I opened the door for him with my pass key. But there is a chain, too, and that is fastened. There is no answer, and it is very still in there, and so cold. The window open, I borrow the engineer's hammer, and break the chain, and go in. Monsieur Rachette was... it was terrible. The chain was fastened. It must have been suicide?
I'm sorry, Michel. A person does not commit suicide by stabbing himself 12 times.
No, I suppose not.
Did anyone call for you last night after we spoke?
Yes, I made up the bed of the young American gentleman, Mr. Rachette's secretary.
At what time?
It must have been about a half hour later.
1:45.
About that, yes. The English colonel from number 15 was with him. The colonel went back to his own compartment as I prepared the American gentleman's bed.
Did you see anyone moving about last night after we spoke?
The English colonel returned to his compartment. No one after that.
Did you leave the car at any time last night after Belgrade?
Well, I did go back to talk to Matteo, the attendant in the Athens-Paris car.
When was that?
Not long after 1.
How long were you gone?
A few minutes only. One of my bells rang. You remember, it was the American lady. She had rung several times.
I would like to take your fingerprints.
Of course, mademoiselle. I hope the investigation will be concluded successfully and soon.
Vale. Voy a ir al otro compartimento. Que era por la ventana de este, creo. Que por cierto podemos coger la huella de la pisada. De la ventana. No, de este no. De este. De estas. Pero... no. Creo que tengo que hacerlo dentro de la ventana, ¿verdad? Porque si no aquí va, me caigo. O sea, salgo.
Fascinating.
Vale. Aunque no sé si con esto... o tengo que hacer un morde.
I am sorry, mademoiselle, but
Un morde y lo puedo hacer con la masa. Ajá.
Excellent. Like the hand in a
Luego ya
glove.
está la forma de la huella. Y lo cojo con la mano.
My body heat will melt it. I must find something to pick it up with.
Pinzas. ¿La de hielo?
That is most pleasing.
¿La ves? Y se queda la forma. Vale. Y ahora sí le echo el polvo o lo dejo así.
Something is wrong.
No, vale, lo dejo así. Pues vamos a ir al otro compartimento, que es lo que aquí. Oh, espérate. Me saco las pruebas para la maquinista esta.
I would like to fingerprint you.
Eğer mecbursan,
Menos mal que no me dan mucho texto.
I still need to ask you some questions about last night.
at your service, dear young lady. But I know nothing.
Did you see anyone leave the train last night?
No. But as I have told you, we were busy with the boiler. The pressure must be kept up for the lights and heat.
Did you see anyone get on the train?
In Belgrade, there was a single passenger only for the Athens-Paris coach. No one at the other stops that I saw.
Can you describe this passenger?
He was small, dark. A doctor, I think, Michel said.
No one else?
Well, Matteo, of course, the Athens-Paris attendant. Not to speak ill of the crew, but he was very late getting aboard. We left the station only moments later.
I would like to fingerprint you.
Anything you require. However, if you're planning to smear that typewriting ribbon on my fingers,
Okay.
it is unnecessary. My fingers are black from coal dust already.
That will be all, Tayyip.